Hello, everyone. Joshua Short here. Look who's back.
Fresh off a 16-hour flight.
Lauren Moss is back, everyone. Welcome to Something Extra. We're so glad to see you and be with you once more again here on the podcast. Before we get to our distinguished guest today, we've got to talk about you, Lauren Moss. It's good to be back. How was your trip overseas?
It was so great. I got to see my fiance overseas, and it just was a lot of fun. He's playing baseball out there, and it's kind of fitting with our guest today, I guess you could say.
I will say so myself. I think that when we bring in Andrew Berlin momentarily, the owner of the South Bend Cubs, we're going to be talking baseball a lot.
Woo.
I've got to ask you, did you stay away from emails the entire time you were gone? You were gone about a week.
Well, do you remember the last time I went to Korea?
Yeah.
And I caused a whole network safety issue? Everyone thought that we were hacked by someone in Korea.
I think you should explain that story. What did you do?
I checked my email while I was in Korea.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I get an update from like Gray, which owns our TV station, Gray Media. And they said, our system has been compromised. An IP address linked back to Korea has accessed our emails. I'm like, that's me. I'm in Korea.
And that's where defense systems
come
in.
And it was me. Right? So I had to apologize. I sent a million texts, and then we had to reboot the system, but now we're good.
We're good
So
now.
then I just took that as a sign not to check my email. And that's what I did.
So you've not checked your email.
I totally disconnected. It was great.
I got to bring in Andrew Berlin, everyone.
Yay.
We're so happy to have him. We're so glad you're here. Here's the applause.
Wow.
Yeah. I told you, we've got the best of the best.
It's roaring.
We've got the best of the best. Andrew, it's good to see you. How you doing, friend?
Good to see you, too. Is that the clapping and chat?
We got the laugh.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great.
We have that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything you want.
Anything you want.
Awesome.
It's so good to see you.
Good
of
to see
course,
you too.
this time of year, you got a lot going on,
Yeah.
but I want to take a step back, just ask you a simple question.
Yeah.
How are you doing right now? How's everything going in life?
Things are good.
Good.
Things are well. I'm a pretty happy guy. It's here with it's opening day this week, April 8th, and I have to tell you, it's a national celebration. I was at Wrigley for opening day on the 4th. They beat the Padres and broke their winning streak, and I have to tell you, it's when baseball season starts, it really is the official start of summer.
It really is. And Four Winds Field is going to look a little different this year. Talk about some of the work that's been going on over there.
It's amazing. I never really thought we'd ever get the funds to do something like this, but it's been pretty special. We had a great stadium before, and we've made a number of renovations since I bought the team in 2011. But this particular renovation increases just the overall size of the organization or of the ballpark. We're going to be up to a little over 10,000 with seats, and then with the suites and the sitting areas, maybe get to close to 12,000. And we're really now starting to reach a level where the community, the region is so supportive, and we get the crowds. We have sellouts, and now maybe less likely to have sellouts, but there's so many more opportunities to entertain while you're there too, with friends or colleagues, and I can't wait till this is done. We're about, I'd say probably 55-60% done now, but we'll be entirely done by opening day next year.
This is huge.
Cool.
I know you can't say too much about some of the plans that are still underway. You're a businessman at the end of the day, so I get you can't say too much. Yeah. But I know you're excited. When I had a chance to look at the field last week and to look at the new netting, for example, talk about some of the intricacies, some of the little things that people at home may or may not notice.
Yeah, it's the little things that actually kind of turn me on too. I don't know what about you guys, but
I agree. Yeah,
the details. It's really in the details.
Yeah.
So we had Roger Bossard, who's a third-generation groundskeeper from the White Sox. He's done probably half of the major league ballparks in Major League Baseball. We had him come out and do our minor league field. It was a $700,000 expenditure out of our own pockets, not from the city, not from the state, and being able to replace the grass, replace the irrigation, replace the drainage, and come up with absolutely the best field. Not only does it make for better baseball, but it also cuts down on injuries. You have an even surface, and also for big rains, it drains very, very quickly. So as a consequence, it is beautiful and functional and should last probably 8-9 years, and then you have to replace it again.
Is this the sod father?
Yeah, Roger Bossard, affectionately called the Sod Father, and he's earned that moniker. He really has.
You're talking a lot about the technical work going on and like behind the scenes, but visually, it's going to be really stunning there too, right?
Yes, it is. You're going to see construction going on during games. You're going to see, just the overall stadium's going up into the sky, and we have. new lights, new scoreboards. We are going to have ribbon lighting around the stadium eventually. And the fireworks will now be executed from center field on the field itself.
Wow.
So not outside the stadium. So they'll be closer, bigger, brighter.
Wow.
Visually, and I have to say audibly, we have a whole new speaker system in the ballpark. We have more speakers, bigger speakers, better fidelity, LED lights around the stadium. It should be quite the experience for families and kids, and baseball lovers.
Oh yeah.
You're not just a baseball guy. You are a businessman. Talk to people who may not know about you, a little bit about you and where you got your fame, your notoriety, because you're a businessman at heart. I know you got an attorney background, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Tell folks about you.
Well, where do you want me to start?
So many
From
places.
the beginning.
I mean, Lauren and I, we had trouble explaining it to folks earlier, our new reporters, right?
And I mean, we've known you for years, so we've covered your story so many times. But it really is. I mean, you're someone special, and you're very special to South Bend.
Thanks.
It's true.
Even my mother doesn't say those things about me. Thank you very much.
Let's start with Berlin Packaging, because I know that's a big part of what you have done and part of your legacy, correct?
Yeah, actually, I'll start a little bit before that because I think what made me the kind of businessman I am today started a lot earlier. My family, even growing up, emphasized getting a job as early as age 5. Age 5, 6. I mean, I didn't get allowance. I had to go out and make money door to door, whether I was shoveling driveways, cutting lawns, making sand candles in my basement and selling them door to door. And whatever it was, I had a myriad of jobs growing up and really understood the value of hard work, making a little bit of money, being able to buy the things you want to buy as a little kid, and not being able to afford certain things. And even though I came from a family of means, I was never given those resources. I had to earn them. So I think that kind of set me on a path of just, the connection between working hard, dedicating myself to a craft, getting good at it, and then being able to reap the whether it be the profits or the success that comes with it. So I went to Syracuse University after high school. I played football for a very short period of time there. Cut very quickly from that team, which probably saved me later in life.
What was your position on the team? If I could
outside linebacker.
Got it.
See, did it fuel you a little bit? Sometimes you need something like that to set a fire under you, right?
I might have been one of the smarter guys on the team, but I didn't have the heft. I didn't have the heft.
It's okay.
It's okay. I still got invited to the sorority party. It was fine. But as far as that goes, I mean, again, I worked through college. I put myself through college. I had 3 jobs working through college. I was a bouncer at a bar. I was waiting tables all through college. I was a houseboy in a sorority. I worked for J.C. Penney part-time in the sporting goods department, the paint department, and the hardware department. And, and I paid the rent this way. And at the time, I didn't see it as a problem or a difficulty. I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed earning money and being able to take care of and sustain my life.
How did that define what you do today? Because I think people look at what you've done, what you've accomplished, and obviously your background, your family background, and say, you had it made. You could have done anything, and you decided to work and do and take no for an answer at a very young age. Does that still resonate to what you do today?
Yeah, and I think working is also a very social thing. I mean, you meet people from different walks of life who come from different circumstances, and I really enjoy getting to know people, making friends, and creating colleagues wherever I go. And so, I did go to law school. You mentioned before I went to law school. I practiced for only 23 months. I was a commercial litigator. So, I did understand how to make an argument in front of a jury, in front of a judge.
That's good.
But, that was a very quick career because the firm that I was at, one of the clients was selling a troubled packaging company. And so this was back in 1987 where you could borrow money with very little equity down.
Okay.
Interest rates were 16, 17%.
Sure.
So banks were giving money away at that time because the interest rates are so high.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of leveraged buyouts didn't work. Ours did work because when we took over the packaging company, I have to say that, number one, building a great team around me was job number one. And so I did find out later on that I'm actually a pretty good recruiter.
Yeah.
And so I, recruit people who don't just necessarily have amazing business skills, but maybe even more importantly, have great personal traits.
Yeah.
That's what
People
that has.
skills.
You just said it, Lauren Moss. That has defined every single business where you have led, created, started, or are part of. Are the people. And that's something that you hear people say in South Bend a lot about the South Bend Cubs. They always talk about the people. My girlfriend's brother actually worked at Four Winds Field, and he talks about how people were just awesome there. People were nice. It was a great place to work, and he was on the grill making the food, and he loved the place.
Yeah,
and that's something that I think resonates. And do you still hear that from some of the employees when you go back?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Let's face it. I mean, you're working an 8-hour day, and some jobs you're working more than 8 hours, and you might as well enjoy the people you're with. And you never want to be the one who's pulling all the weight. You want colleagues to be working arm in arm, shoulder to shoulder with you, who are honest, who are creative, who are entrepreneurial, who know what it's like to be on a team. Working hard, but also helping elevate others. It's hard to train that. You can recruit those traits. You can, if you have skill sets, I can teach someone how to clean a toilet, for example, in the ballpark, or how to rake the field or what have you. But the personal traits really make a big difference, because let's face it, everybody who ever had a business or ever thought about starting a business, everybody's got good ideas.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone who's I tell people all the time, anyone who's ever taken a shower has had a good idea.
Let's be honest. For all the success you've had, you also give back, right? So talk about why South Bend. Why are you so invested in the South Bend Cubs?
Well, it did start out as a business venture. I bought the South Bend Silverhawks from Joe Kernan and the 50 some odd partners that he had, and so. If you're trying to attract the public to your ballpark, which who are your customers, you want to have a positive impact on the community, attract people. But after a while, people do find out about the team. They find out about the stadium. They find out that actually some decent baseball is being played over there, and then become a Cubs affiliate. Then that awakens, the love that people have, for the team. But I think in terms of being philanthropic, I feel very embraced. By the community here, not just in South Bend, but the overall community. And there's a strong feeling that I want to give back, and I want to help those who are less fortunate, people who want to be in business or want to try something new. A lot of people just need a chance, and I like the idea of having a business here that can give people an opportunity to make some money and practice their skills in business, and do something else. It's perhaps in one day. And I think that's actually a good way of giving back. I mean, there's lots of ways of giving, right? You can give to people who don't have the resources you have for medical reasons, hospital stays, things that they can't afford. That's an obvious one, and that's noble in and of itself. But I think one of the greatest noble missions about giving is giving in a way that you can help people take care of themselves eventually. Because I've never wanted to be on the dole for very long. I certainly got help from my parents. I've had help from friends over the time, over the many years. But I like the idea of teaching people how to take care of themselves and take care of their loved ones over time.
Teaching people how to fish so that they can get their own fish.
Exactly. I mean, that biblical reference fits perfectly. And I love the kinds of programs that teach people how to be successful in their own right. That they can contribute and they can take care of their families and they can give back to their community. And because at the end of the day, that's really the compound effect of philanthropy, is not just giving money away so people can get stuff, but rather to teach them how to do it on their own, how to get the community to do it on its own. And there are ways to do that. I mean, there are ways to invest in the community. And so, sure, we're not only creating hundreds of jobs at Four Winds Field on an annual basis, but we do support a lot of organizations that teach people how to take care of themselves, take care of others, and eventually build their own wealth and wherewithal to take care of the people that matter in their life.
And pay it forward almost.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's what I like to do. And so, yes, I have a great affection for the city and the area. I mean, people have been very, very kind to me. I love seeing a full ballpark. I love seeing people having a great time. I've described that ballpark as a little bit like a sanctuary almost. It
is.
I mean, if you're, I don't care what website you look at or what channel you listen to, you look at the news and you say, oh my God, the world is losing its mind, right? It feels like that no matter what side of the aisle you're on politically.
It's true.
And baseball's not political. It's when you come into that ballpark, you're in a sanctuary where the walls of that stadium keep all that stuff out.
Yeah.
Keeps all that noise out there. And all you got to do is sit there for a very reasonably priced ticket, and you get 3-4 hours of amazing entertainment, depending on how long you want to stay. But you have a beer or a drink or a meal with somebody, sit in your seats, and in the summertime you got a beautiful summer sky.
Yeah.
It's at nighttime you got stars. You're playing a game under the stars and the moon. What a beautiful place to spend your time with your family and your friends, and all that other crap, if you will,
Right.
that people are, politically or whatever the case may be. Man, I know you guys are on Instagram, and I know you're on other social platforms. I got to tell you, man, it's
overwhelming.
It's exhausting.
You know what?
It's nonstop.
It's exhausting. It's draining.
Yeah,
And
it's
after
draining.
a while, you forget to connect with people face to face, actually looking in their eyes, shaking their hand, putting their arm around you, and then now you have that sense of community. You don't get a sense of community online. You get it in a ballpark.
We need more Andrew Berlins in the world, Lauren. I
I
vote
love
for
it.
that.
Well, you already know baseball is like a
Well.
love story for me. Like I love the game, but I think you're right. It brings everyone together, all different backgrounds.
It does.
And the South Bend Cubs tickets are so affordable where anyone can go and any age can go and have a good time.
That's so true.
Yeah,
It's so true.
yeah.
I got to bring this up now. Okay, so because this is, I didn't ask this question. Other people
Okay.
told me to ask. Okay, you look on Google and you Google Andrew Berlin, and you see
You see a lot of bad pictures. Okay, what else do you see?
the first thing that you see, or almost the first thing you see, is the net worth. It's how much is Andrew Berlin worth? I'm not going to be stupid and say, Andrew, how much you worth? I'm not going to do that because I love you and you're a friend of mine. But I'm going to ask you this way instead.
But I'm going to do it in a different way.
Wow, this is brave. Man, go for it, Josh.
Here we go. Slugger right here.
Go for it. Yeah, swing.
When you Google your name, is that true? Is that stuff true? When you see you're an entrepreneur and you're worth this amount, do you ever look at that and say, it's actually more? Like, I'm just curious what goes through your mind. I don't know.
No, I don't look at it.
I don't think you Google yourself.
Let's just put it this way.
Okay.
I'm often pleased, but I'm never satisfied.
Wow.
Oh, I like that.
So, yes, I can put 3 squares on the table, and I can take care of my family, and I feel good about that.
Sure.
But it's not about the number anymore. It's about whether or not I'm doing something that gives me joy. It's whether or not I'm helping others around me. If I'm providing, I have 5 children and 5 grandchildren, and
Beautiful family.
and you want to leave something behind that they can not only live comfortably, but enough that they stay hungry. Because again, I don't want charity cases in the family either. And so
Wow.
I want them to know that here's a safety net for you. Now go out there and try do new things. Try doing something that makes you feel uncomfortable. Try to accomplish something that is special and means something to you. And I've given you a safety net here, but that doesn't mean you don't work hard.
Man.
And so that teaching starts early, right?
True.
Yeah, it's got to start early, and they've grown up with that, and like even for philanthropy now, we at Thanksgiving, everyone gets together as a family council, and we make arguments for which organizations should get help and how much. Wow. And we sit around the table and we argue about who is more deserving than others and why. And everybody comes prepared to have those discussions. And then we make those decisions, and that controls our philanthropy for the following year.
See, most people sit with their families at the Thanksgiving dinner table and they're complaining about the cranberry sauce, whether it's in the can or not. Some people are complaining about left, right, center. You're talking about helping people. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it's listen, we are fortunate, but it wasn't given to us. Everyone in this, at least I had to earn it. And so at the end of the day, that's the kind of culture that I want to start in this family, and hopefully they take on with their kids. But yeah, I mean, as far as the net, we ask. I know you're joking about the money.
I know I am. I wouldn't dare. I will say I took a picture in front of your vehicle, which I will not name, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
He did a whole photo shoot in front of it.
It's the cars I buy are it's about passion, but
I love that.
But
I love that.
But isn't love about passion too?
Oh,
So,
It is.
okay. So,
And you gotta live for something that you're passionate for.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
that's
what
right.
the heck are you doing?
Right.
I have an interesting question. And you kind of spoke on this already, but what's your advice for those young entrepreneurs out there who maybe, like you said, anyone who showers has a good idea. Maybe they have that good idea, but they don't know where to start.
Well, it sounds almost trite to say, but you have to start writing it down, and you have to start hashing it out. As easy it is to come up with a good idea, it's just as easy to dismiss it.
Yeah, true.
And to come up with excuses about why it won't work or why this is just a dream and it's never going to work. And people rarely even get started on that dream. But I would say, sit down. I mean, listen, people would say start with a laptop. I was trained with paper and pencil. So I sit down, with a writing instrument of some sort, and I start sketching it out, what it might look like, what it might need. And what you first write down is your first draft, because there's lots of mistakes and lots of misunderstandings, or maybe it was just maybe part of it was a bad idea, but you have to start hashing it out, and then you can start talking to friends about what do you think of this idea, and I'm thinking about doing it this way or maybe that way, and then you get some feedback, and maybe you find a mentor in the community. And a lot of young people have reached out to me over the years, and I'm happy to take a phone call. I'm happy to answer an email. I try to answer all of them. And I give them advice. I give them advice on how to get started. But it does, to be an entrepreneur takes courage.
Yeah.
And bravery.
It takes
so
courage.
much.
And by the way, if you want to work for a large corporation and you like the idea of getting a job in that corporation and that feels safer, that's fine too. I mean, every position, every job that's out there, they need someone to do that. And it all depends on whether or not, and being an entrepreneur comes with risk. It comes with sleepless nights. Yeah. The hours are a lot longer, and it's not for everybody, and I that's okay. But at the same time, I do like hiring people who have that drive. And so when you come to Four Winds Field, for example, you do meet people who are used to and celebrated. They're used to working over and above what is expected of them, and it's almost expected. And so the phrase that we use is that when our guests come to the ballpark, our intention is just not to merely serve them, but to surprise and delight them.
I like that.
And so we encourage our teammates to go above and beyond what the policy is, go above and beyond what the training is, and just simply delight somebody. And if you can do that, number one, it's more fun as an employee to do something like that, to have the ability and the permission to do that. And number two, if you do that, that guest is going to tell other people.
Oh man, that's so true.
If you merely satisfy someone in business, they'll never talk about you. But if you delight them, surprise them, they'll tell stories about you all day long. It's like being in the restaurant business, right?
Yeah.
You go there and you get the meal, and it's like, okay, it's the meal I expected.
Yeah, decent meal, whatever.
Right. But if you go get a great meal and then the service is just amazing, the wait person who's waiting on you is watching you and anticipating your needs before you even have a chance to express it. And when they hear the ding of the fork on the floor, you don't have to ask for a fork. Someone's coming right over with a fork, a knife, and a spoon because they don't know what hit the floor, so they're prepared to give you one or the other. Or when your water glass is empty, you don't have to ask for more water. It's just the little things like that we try to replicate in the ballpark every single game. And that's the hard part. That's where the training comes in.
Right.
But I lead my life that way too. For me, after a while, it becomes almost like a game. How far can you go without creeping someone out, of course? I like helping. I like helping. It's fun for me.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this, and I think it's a question that a lot of people are curious about too. Has there been an idea as an entrepreneur that you have been either greeted with, told about, asked to be a part of, or yourself have thought about that was the wackiest, craziest idea that almost worked that didn't? And I don't know if I don't want to reveal trade secrets, but I'm curious.
I watch Shark Tank every night, and some of these things I'm like, this is crazy, but why didn't I think of this?
Yeah. Is there something you've been a part of or something that is now patented that, is covered, but that you're like, man, I didn't know that was going to be as big. I don't know if you have that. I'm just curious.
Yeah. I've had that feeling with smoke detectors.
Really?
I got this idea of a smoke detector. Number one, why do they start beeping in the middle of the night? Can't they find a smoke detector that beeps during the day?
Yeah. Right.
Number one. Yeah. Number two, if you have multiple smoke detectors, why don't they flash some color other than the other smoke detectors so you know it's that one?
They're all red.
They're all red.
They're all red.
Yeah.
So I thought, why don't we just make a smoke detector that is like uber friendly, and that's one idea. Okay. It may be out there. I just don't know about it.
Sure.
Yeah. The other ideas I have been simple like this too, but it's possible. Okay, I'm going to give away a good idea.
Okay. All right.
And
Write it down, Lauren. Hurry up.
And for one of your listeners who does this, I'm ready to invest.
Okay.
My wife makes a lot of nutritional smoothies in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. The kitchen is very close to the family room where I'm trying to watch a game. And every time she turns that darn blender on, it is white noise that drowns out everything.
Yeah.
And then when you think it's done, she's adding more ice.
Yeah.
And it's the loudest damn thing I've had here in the whole house.
He's reaching up for the interception. And it just goes off.
Why can't we make a blender that doesn't make noise? That's quiet.
I've not thought about that one.
That's a good
But
point.
but think about George Foreman, right?
Yeah.
That's the dumb little grill, right?
I loved it.
But the man, I was just reading an article about it. The man unfortunately just passed, but what an icon, right? But he took an idea and he actually did something about it.
Right.
Yep.
I think there's 1,000, if not 10,000, great ideas out there that someone
True.
has yet to action.
And it starts with being curious. It goes back to like even our job as journalists, right? It starts with being curious and asking questions and being
Right.
like, well, why is this way? Is it this way?
It doesn't have to be that way.
Right. It doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
That's true. That's true. I got to ask you guys about, I guess you specifically, because I told Lauren about this briefly. This is really cool. You talked about investing and helping people. Talk about open. Forgive me, I said open AI. Forgive me. It is
Shield AI.
Shield AI.
Yeah.
Talk about Shield AI. What that is. How you became part of this. Because it is pretty unique just on the top
Josh
line.
was filling us in a little bit in the newsroom.
It's an extraordinary company.
Wow.
Unlike any other company I've been a part of.
That says a lot.
Well, it's a defense technology company. And our mission is protecting the lives of warfighters and civilians. I've never had a mission like that in the baseball business or the packaging business or the fish business or the cosmetic business, all the businesses I've invested in. It's a business that has a software model to it and a hardware model to it. So we make drones and cruise missiles, if you will, and they do a lot of either reconnaissance or they can be loaded with a payload that is a kinetic payload. Payloads that actually explode.
Correct.
And then the software component is something we call hive mind software, which can be stacked on almost anything that flies. So what it means is autonomous AI is you don't need a pilot in the cockpit. You don't need a pilot on the ground. You literally, our software can fly a fighter jet with no pilot.
That's huge.
Wow.
But without a pilot means that it also has artificial intelligence that can deter bad actors, but it also can find, stare, and find targets. In many cases in the battlefield today, GPS is jammed as well as radio frequency. This software needs neither. So it doesn't need GPS. It doesn't need radio frequency. It doesn't need to check in. Given the mission, it can hover and stare in the sky for hours, waiting for the opportunity to complete the mission successfully, and it will come back because our
The way the system is.
the way the system works in what we call our XBATs or VBATs rather, they take off vertically, so they don't need a runway. But after their mission, they can also come back and land vertically.
Wow.
So you don't need runways. And so, for example, in battles in war, the very first thing that gets bombed, if you're the other side, you bomb the runways,
right?
Because that way your bombers and your fighter jets can't take off.
Yeah.
But if you have something it takes off vertically. You can actually you need a space of about 5 feet by 5 feet, and it can take off vertically, and it does its job.
Wow.
This is significant when you're talking about defense in this country and others.
Yeah.
Well, we sell to dozens of countries now. We work primarily, of course, with the United States government, all the branches of service. And I got introduced to this. Actually, it was a strange story. Right around...
No story you tell is strange.
I left Berlin Packaging in 2019. I still remained a large shareholder there, but turned the reins over to another team. And then I was looking for something to do, and a friend of mine is a 3-star vice admiral and a former Navy SEAL. And he called me up and asked me, would I have an interest in joining the Navy and helping out with some of the things that the Navy was struggling with at the time and still struggling with at this time, controlling expenses, improving productivity, building ships faster, less expensively. These are all the things we do in business, right?
Yeah.
And so whether it's a cruise missile or a battleship or a carrier, the principles are all the same. And I was happy to do it, but the idea was that I would do it in uniform. I'd have to serve in uniform.
Got it.
So the Navy came up with an idea to swear me in as a commander and wear the uniform, work in Washington, D.C., and work on these projects.
Cool.
I was ready to go through the training at ODS, or Officer Development School in Newport, Rhode Island, an 8-week program. It's they call it fork and knife school, but they get you in shape, and they teach you how to salute and how to wear the uniform and so on and so forth.
Cool.
Sure.
And I was 59 at the time, so I would have been the oldest serving commander. So, breaking another ceiling, Josh.
Whatever, age is just a number.
It's just a number. That's right. So, but then COVID hit. And then it shut the whole program down. But I was introduced to other people that were doing business with the Navy at that time, and one of those companies was a fledgling startup called Shield AI. And so I met with the co-founders, and one thing came another. I fell in love with the product. I fell in love with the culture. I fell in love with the mission, and the autonomous AI actually makes it so special that, you can stack this on fighter jets, bombers, cruise missiles, drones, and in the future, even commercial aircraft.
Wow.
So
and it's about precision, right? And
it's a completely autonomous artificial intelligence that can get you from here to there or complete the mission without, the brain is amazing, but compared to AI, it's lethargic and slow.
True. Especially in a situation where it's high pressure, you're in a small aircraft.
Seconds count and milliseconds count.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you're in a fighter jet and there's an anti-aircraft missile coming at you,
You got to make a decision.
by the time you make the decision, it's too late.
There you go.
True.
So
there you go.
You need AI to make that decision for you faster.
Do you hear, of course, the skeptics always talk about AI and the uncertainty surrounding AI still and the safety and security. This is one of the first times that I've heard, and I don't want to say the first time, but one of the first times at this level where AI is potentially life-saving in more ways than one.
Yes.
When you talk about the uncertainty surrounding AI, have you posed that question to your partners and said, look, this is still new, or is this something that has been worked out for years and there's confidence in it? Where do things stand?
There's a great deal of confidence because it works. It's been tested. It's been tested in battles. It's been tested. And it's been played a part in Ukraine already.
Wow.
And so it's been battle tested. So it works. We know it works.
Got it.
But remember the mission. The mission is not just protecting the lives of warfighters, but also protecting the lives of civilians. Right? So let's say your number one issue is the environment.
Okay.
What is it that humans do that pollutes most?
Drive.
War.
Wow.
Think about war, what war does to the planet.
Yeah.
It scorches, quite literally scorches everything. It takes down buildings, it takes down people, it can blow up reactors, nuclear reactors. War does terrible things.
Absolutely.
If you can deter war, now you have a green agenda, right? Not, if you can protect civilians who can't protect themselves, is there anything more noble than that?
Right. And sadly, we've had it in the headlines, Josh. Obviously we know when we anchor our 4 and 6 o'clock newscasts, how many times this year alone have we started the newscast with so many civilians, have sadly died.
You've said it gets exhausting after a while. And when you hear something like this, you talked about it, the nobility that is underscored in it. It says a lot. And I think a lot of people who may not have heard about it, they're going to be interested now because lives can be saved in so many ways.
Innocent lives too, yeah.
So I'm a chairman of this company, and we have really brilliant people. You've heard the expression that some people play checkers and other people play chess. I feel like meeting these people. I feel like I've been playing with marbles versus what these guys are doing. These are some of the smartest men and women I've ever met in my entire lives, and all of them have come together. Some of them are veterans, some of them are just techies, but everyone shares a love of this mission.
Yeah.
Let's talk about really quickly, and thank you for sharing that. I know you can't usually share too much. I know there's a lot going on with that, so thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Let's wrap things up with Cubs here. Obviously, a lot of people talking about the season.
Yes.
A lot of people talking about the baseball field itself. Yeah. We are so excited. I don't know how else to put it. What are you most excited about this season? What are you most excited about when it comes to this team and the surrounding project as well?
Well, so it's a business.
Yeah.
And when you think about your business, you also think about the competition, right? Mm-hmm. Who are we being compared to? Number one, we get where are you going to get the most fun for the biggest bang for your buck? Wrigley is an amazing place to go. Mm-hmm. It's a long drive from South Bend. Sure. Tickets are a lot more expensive. And so to some extent, it's kind of apples and oranges.
Sure.
Where else can you go around here? Well, Notre Dame, right? That's thankfully a different season than what we have, and so we don't have to compete with Notre Dame. But we're trying to create an experience that competes with going to the beach, going to the movies, doing anything else but coming to our ballpark. Mm-hmm. And it is somewhat weather dependent. But then again, you could dress warm for a football game. Right. You can dress warm for a ball game too. We have to make it a place that attracts people, regardless of the weather, regardless of other things they have in their lives. They make time. They don't just find time. They make time to come to our ballpark. And in order to do that, you have to capture their imagination and their emotion to make the decision to come. Mm. So the return on investment, I believe, is so great in this ballpark. We think about the quality of the food, the safety aspect, the service. What kind of show are you going to see? Do these games matter? I mean, you're watching the future stars of baseball, and even if you're not a baseball fan, by the way, when I look around the crowd, most people are talking with each other. They're at the tiki bar getting a drink.
Yep.
I love the tiki bar. By the way, quick shout out.
Yeah, that's true.
They do a great job.
I'm pretty sure our pictures, Josh, are hanging in the. Back
you
there.
talked about entertainment earlier, not to interrupt,
Sorry.
but if I have 3 drinks, I become the entertainment. So
it's
a great
are always
place.
welcome. No, but my point is that we're trying to build that business based upon capturing and answering the call for a strong, positive emotional experience.
Right.
Wow.
And families need that now. I mean,
yes.
Times are tough. Things are so expensive. Going to the grocery store is so expensive.
It's
so
true.
what can you do for the whole family? Go have a fun night at the ballpark.
Yeah, it really is good.
Yeah.
I can tell you that tomorrow, Bella's birthday turns 8 years old, and we're going to the park. We're just going to watch a game. It's going to be 40. I don't care.
Who cares?
It's going to be a good time. And I think that's the
good.
one thing people always say about the ballpark, even in South Bend, Indiana.
Right.
In South Bend, Indiana, what? I know, but then you go to the park and you're like in a different world for just 2.5, 3 hours.
And you'll be able to see the exposed bones of what's coming. Mm. I mean, the second deck's been built.
That's cool.
And now they're going to put the walls up and everything, but you're going to see how high this thing is. And some of the iron work and some of the steel work we've done on the roof is very Wrigley-esque.
Mm.
Wow.
So if you're familiar with the way Wrigley looks, you're going to see some nods here to the Wrigley architecture.
And you're going to be, and I think that's the unique part to this project is that players, fans, all of us are going to be watching this in real time as it's being completed, right?
Yeah.
That's really unique.
And just baseball brings you back to like your childhood. It just is, it's just a fun game to watch.
It's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
And people who live in this region should feel very, very proud that the Cubs voted on you guys.
What are those bats called again? Those new bats?
Torpedo bats.
What are your thoughts on the torpedo bats? We just talked about this, Lauren. Were you here?
I'm here because so I know about this because the Yankees have it, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep,
They're not the only ones.
Yankees are using it right now, and
about
some other
15 teams are using it now.
But
15?
I am engaged to a pitcher.
Yeah.
So when I watch baseball now, I used to watch it when I'd go to Wrigley. You want to see all these great home runs. Now I watch it and I'm just like cringing, waiting for the pitcher, and I'm like, please, Eric, let's get out of this inning, okay? No hits.
Yeah,
so the torpedo bat scares me.
Well, I'm sorry on behalf of your fiance, but when his own teammates
When you
hit
know
home
the
runs with
pitcher.
torpedo bats, I'm sure he'll be
That's
happy.
true. That's true.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It is so much fun. Can you remind people of opening day just in case they want to get that
Yeah.
last minute ticket and things like that?
Yeah, April 8th. Yeah, come on out. It's a night game.
And again, don't worry
yes.
about the weather, right?
Don't worry about that.
Dress appropriately.
There you go.
Exactly.
It's
And
the
by the
Midwest.
way, if you don't have some warm clothes at home, we do have a team store that sells a lot of warm clothes.
There you go.
Yep, just went.
And you have a lot
Just
of
went.
cute stuff too, by the way.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you for saying
Cute,
so.
cute.
Andrew Berlin, thank you so much for
Thank
taking the time
you.
out
It's a real
to
pleasure.
do this. I meant to
Thank
ask,
you.
this is a random question. This is,
I'm sorry I didn't answer you about the net worth. I apologize.
you answered
He's
enough.
going to be Googling you as soon
Enough
as we leave.
said.
That's all right. That's all right.
I have to ask you, this is a random question. I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember there was an officer who helped you? I think it was on the toll road. It was a state trooper. That was the first time I ever learned about Andrew Berlin. Because I didn't know. I was like, Andrew Berlin, who is Andrew Berlin? I just knew it was a news story at the time. And you had tweeted a picture with you. Can you tell people that story? Because I don't think people know.
know
Is
if
this
I
the story
remember
when I
this one.
got pulled over for speeding or I had a flat tire?
You had a
Because I
flat
met a few
tire.
troopers on the toll road. And
like,
and the
wait a
men and
minute.
women of the Indiana State Police are lovely, by the way. Just a shout out to the Indiana State Police.
That's great. That's great.
You guys are great.
That's
I
great.
love it.
I
I
had never
remember. I
forget
think
that.
I did a Zoom interview with you. So this must have been 6 years ago. It was during COVID times.
I think it was a flat tire. I think it was a flat tire.
It was a flat tire. It was.
Yeah, but
indeed.
the problem was it was a flat tire on a very, very narrow
oh, scary.
part of the highway,
Man, and
just past Gary.
I remember that trooper helped you, and you shouted them out, and like who does
that's
that,
cool.
right? But you did that, and that said so much about you. And that just stuck with me all these years later. It was just random.
That's
Sorry, but
cool.
Well, I think part of it had to do with the fact I let him put their World Series ring on. Yeah, I think I think that's. I was trying to, just
there you go.
trying to.
Smart.
Can you please help me?
really-
My tire is right there.
You know something that I've heard from him since, and he's a lovely guy, lovely family.
Oh, that's awesome.
And listen, all kidding aside, I mean, I served on the board of directors for the Illinois State Police. I was chairman of that board for a while.
Wow.
Between Illinois and Indiana, it's the same kind of organization. Sure. But these are highly trained. People think of them as mostly people who are handing out tickets on tollway, but the training and the commitment these men and women make is just extraordinary.
yeah.
And they're out there by themselves.
Man, they ain't alive.
If they need help, it's a long time before another trooper comes
Every
along.
dangerous situation they go through.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I got great respect for them.
We appreciate
I
that.
do speed safely.
Well, look,
Riding in style.
you are so busy, and we appreciate you. I know you got to get back in your Porsche SXZ or whatever it's called.
Just four tires.
Andrew, you are amazing. Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
Thank you
you.
for all
Go
that you
Cubs,
do.
go.
Go Cubs, go, baby.
Go WNDU.
Thank you.
Cut that for the promo, Michael. We need that. Look, we appreciate you doing this, and Lauren, it's so good to have you back as well
Great
to be
to
able to
be
do this
back.
interview.
Yes.
Yeah.
For everyone listening and watching wherever you get your podcast, this was something extra. I think this is our longest podcast, by the way.
It is.
That was
Well
cool.
deserved, though. Well deserved.
I think well deserved.
You ask great questions, and
No.
the energy is fantastic. So
Oh,
all kidding
thank
aside,
you.
it was my pleasure.
No.
Happy to come back anytime.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're awesome. Thank you. Thank you. All right. We will see you guys soon. Thank you.
Bye.